Go.
Welcome everybody to our presentation. The title of our research is the COVID-19 effects on the Volkswagen supply chain. The sector that we are focusing on is the production and manufacturing sector. We are focusing on the automotive industry. 20,000 parts from thousands of suppliers go into one vehicle. The automotive supply chain is one of the most complex supply chain. Volkswagen in 2019 had the following numbers. They had 10.97 million vehicles, the global market share of 12%, 12 brands, and 125 production plants. And this makes them the largest car manufacturer of Europe.
Okay. So we are going to study what the impact of COVID-19 virus on the supply chain of Volkswagen Group is. Yeah. Okay, so like we said already before, we will do a case study on the Volkswagen Group. And we use different articles that we could find on the web to study the supply chain of Volkswagen. We also did 2 interviews, one with a dealer, a local dealer of Volkswagen in Belgium, and also with a supplier of Volkswagen in the Netherlands. And we will study this, in this case, 3 dimensions. First of all, we will look to the business process integration. So we will do an analysis of a small part of the supply chain. We will look to the suppliers who deliver the different components to the company to make a car. Then on the cybersecurity, we'll look to the risk and resilience for the supply chain, and also what it means to work from home. And then we will also look to the IT governance. We will look to the digital transformation in the field of the supply chain. So the research goal is to generate an insight into the effects of the pandemic on the production and manufacturing sector, and more specific on Volkswagen.
Next, we want to discuss our results. We found out that COVID-19 has had a great impact on the supply chain of Volkswagen Group. We looked at, as Cedric mentioned before, we looked at it from 3 dimensions. First, the business process integration. Now, we saw that due to COVID-19, the plants in the supply chain were shut down. This meant there was a disruption of the supply chain. This caused a delay and shortage downstream. So this meant that there was a big delay in the final delivery from the dealers, and there was not enough inventory. Also, we noticed that e-commerce was on the rise. A lot of companies in the supply chain started using Microsoft Teams for discussions and making appointments with suppliers. Next, we have cybersecurity. We found that COVID-19 was the catalyst for remote working. A lot of companies started working from home. This also increased the attack surface of Volkswagen, because everyone was not on site anymore and had to start working from home. This meant that resilience was getting more and more important. Last, we have the IT governance part. IT governance, there was a rise in new software applications. And there were a lot of decisions to make regarding the digital transformation due to COVID-19.
Yeah, and now finally, real quick, the recommendation that we came up with. First of all, business process integration. We recommend to build a very resilient supply chain, as well as shifting focus even more towards the e-commerce side of the business. For cybersecurity, keep the supply chain modularized, or even more, as this encapsulates any breach that may occur in the supply chain of Volkswagen. And this would therefore decrease the impact of it. And then finally, the IT governance. Handle the IT decisions with individual attention, but make sure that you also communicate with other business units and do not make the decisions in isolation. Thank you for listening.